Hello, hi guys. My name is Naveed, and I'm the process consultant in Redington Gulf. I've been working on Splunk since quite a few years now. So in today's session, we'll be seeing how to make SOC smarter and not work harder in a SOC, and using Splunk how we can optimize the security operations. So it is also called Splunk Operations Platform or Splunk Operations Suite. Okay, and the agenda is to see how to how the security operations working today and what are the challenges that they're facing and how we can resolve those challenges. So when we talk about security operations today, everyone who is working in a SOC knows that SOC is not just task of one person or even a bunch of people, but they are it's actually a teamwork or team effort with many skilled professionals working on different areas of security. Okay, combined together, it becomes security operations. So whole team works on different types of incidents, different types of I would say in different domains like endpoint security, network security, investigation, detection, integrations, and so on. So it's a huge task, and there's a lot of expertise, skills, and I would say speed is needed to make the SOC optimum or productive. Okay, so I would say when you see the challenge regarding the biggest challenge when it comes to SOC operations is is the time to detect and respond. So we need to make sure that the mean time to resolution MTTR is quite optimum, or it's in minutes rather than hours. Okay, so similarly it goes to the whole bunch of operations that are applied in that happen in a SOC. Okay, not just the not just analyzing the incidents, but also right, making the content more effective. Okay, when I say content, it is the data that you collect to look into in a SIM. So that also should be filtered. Okay, and then start this is data ingestion part. So the data should be filtered, and data should be from all relevant areas of security, and not just security. I would say nowadays every data that is generated by any machine has some kind of insight in it. Okay, and that can be helpful for analytics or in any area that you consider. So be it security analytics, be it IT operations, etc. So when it comes to security, you need to make sure that you are collecting all the relevant data and filter it, and and make sure that uh, you're generating incidents, or you're identifying incidents which are not which are critical. Okay, and sorting them out. So this is in terms of optimizing the security operations and scaling your resources, human resources, as in, yeah, so if you see a SOC, yeah, there are a lot of operations, there's a lot of time involved in building a SOC, in operating a SOC, making it more productive, making it more efficient and optimum in terms of investment and ROI. So you cannot expect the human expertise to just be used on tedious tasks or repetitive tasks. When it comes to SOC, it is the number of repetitive incidents that happen in a SOC. Okay, so if you are having 3 people as tier 1 analyst and 2 people as tier 2 analyst and 1 as tier 3, you cannot just let the tier 3 analysts handle or a huge amount of repetitive incidents, because then they won't be able to work on new incidents, or they would not be able to even identify new incidents if they're just spending most of their day looking into the usual repetitive incidents. For example, phishing email. If out of if the tier 3 analysts are handling 300 incidents, and out of the 300 200 are phishing emails daily, so they are and they spend most of the time looking into and solving these phishing email incidents. Yeah, it's like 80% of the time is going in doing the repetitive task, or which is same, identifying and mitigating phishing email incidents, and only 20% of the task is looking into the new incidents, which also goes back to the next day. So you have to make sure that if you are involving a good number of I would say analysts in a SOC, and layering them, or arranging them by hierarchy, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, you need to make sure that their time is also used, in a better way, in optimum way. So the biggest challenges today, I would say, are is security operations, with the speed. Okay, and then making sure that the productivity of the security operations is improved, and the time of the human resources is used in a better way. Yeah, and so that's what we have been, we will be discussing it in detail. So how is the workflow of a security operations center? So on the left side, you can see there are a lot of data sources. Okay, like we said, uh, SIM works on a lot of data, not just mainly security data, but nowadays the age has advanced to analytics and machine learning, where you need to make sure that you're collecting all the relevant data, or I would say machine data itself is the biggest data source now, and it has insight in all the areas of an organization. So when we are coming to SOC, it is mainly network data, intrusion data, or IDS data. You see next generation antivirus or EDR data, threat intel, any kind of authentication and access and identity related data, and also tools like Wireshark, or sniffing tools or packet filtering tools that needs to be given to your SOC or your SIM. Okay, so the volume of security alerts is massive. Okay, according to a survey which was conducted in 2018 by RSA. Okay, I would say RSA conference, and reported by SC magazine, 27% of the enterprise security teams see more than 1 million alerts. Okay, and that too every day. Okay, so the security operations workflow, how it goes is, you have your data generating tools, all of which are relevant as sources of possible security data. Okay, and they all issue alerts, right? So so just imagine you are handling a single alert from every all the security devices. So there would be 5 firewalls, uh, you know 1,000 endpoints, 3 threat intel sources, and a lot of packets, okay, from all over your network, and even authentication events from around 2,000 users. So just imagine how much of alerts you will be handling in a day. So they all issue an alert when something that, I would say, that matches a known um, incident, okay, a security incident or threat. So your tier 1 analyst, they go through all of those alerts to determine which are the real ones and which are the false positives. Yeah, that is the first thing, that or first task that tier 1 analysts do, right? They face basically, like we discussed, they cannot just get stuck with the repetitive tasks, or the the incidents that are happening in many times rather than new incidents. So they have to make sure that uh, whatever incident they are coming across, that is validated. Okay, so that's a true positive rather than a false positive. So once validated, then it goes to tier 2 analyst, so that tier 2 analyst can basically take an action, okay, set a response in motion via any of the other tools, or any of the various tools that are available for them to take action. Okay, so again, so it's like the flow is, you ingest data from the active and passive security devices, you filter it into, so that you remove the false positives. um, how do you remove it? Basically looking into all the alerts and validating them. Okay, and this is done by tier 1 task analysts, and then tier 2 analysts, they look into only the validated incidents, and you know uh, into deep. Okay, they deep dive into it, and then they take action on using the same active and passive security tools. Okay, but in this process you can, I would say, you can end up with a lot of time. You can end up taking a lot of time, and this process doesn't scale, I would say. Okay, so if you have a lot of alerts, you will spend a lot of time bombarded by millions of alerts nowadays. Okay, so like we discussed, as per the RSA report, around 1 million alerts are being generated in a SOC every day. So just imagine, if you have, that's the average. Okay, so if you are into an attack, under an attack, you might even you experience more. Okay, so bombarded by millions of alerts, and choking up your tier 1 bandwidth, I would say. Okay, so the analyst will have to separate the false positives with the from the real ones, and that might take up most of their time. Okay, but now to resolve this problem, yeah, we many of the organizations, they say they put the I would say the responsibility on the solution that is being used by the SOC. So yeah, so they say that we already have a SIM. Why are we not able to use it in an optimum way, or why is it not handling the number of alerts? Okay, so they put it on the technology or the SIM, but then your SIM is most of the SIMs, they are I would say they are not like they're not analytics driven, I would say. Okay, they can't make sense of all the data types and all the false positives. They cannot validate the false positives. So this they this becomes responsibility of the tier 1 to to basically filter, or finding the pin in the haystack, which is the real task. So you need a better SIM, I would say. Okay, so no, no, even with the with the tier 2 analysts, I would say, the task also increases. Their task also increases, because their major task is to look into or deep dive into the security incidents. But rather, I will just go back to the slide. But rather, just to deep doing deep dive into the incidents and doing the response, you know uh, because the sims, they are the traditional sims, or most of the sims, they don't take action. Okay, I would say it becomes the task of tier 2 to deep dive into the security incidents, the validated ones, and to look into the detection and response, and find out ways to take actions using the same tools. Okay, and moreover, they cannot improve the security posture of the organization, or by adding more content in the same. So just imagine, on an average, there are 70 security tools, okay, apps and databases of all sorts in an organization. So tier 2 analysts, they also are stuck with the with the with the with the time. Okay, so even when they have to manually take the response. Now there are 70 plus tools, apps and databases, and so, whatever solutions that you are seeing in an organization. So they will have to take action manually, right? So this again takes up a lot of I would say efforts, okay, time, and effectiveness is, I would say, it is, it depends upon now totally on the tier 2 analyst. So there is no there's no machine learning, or there's no um, automated actions, or there's no machine involved in this process. So it has, everything is human driven. Okay, and they just have a solution to as a desk for them to work on. Okay, so just imagine with this with a sim solution, with trying to handling the challenges we saw, and with human efforts, only human efforts. Okay, with the efforts on the solution that is not very intelligent. Okay, so it adds a lot of stress to the the tier 1 and tier 2 analysts, and also it increases the probability of human error. Okay, and forces the analyst to, I would say, increase the time of mean time to resolution, right? And so with the with a longer time period to investigate, with probability of human error, and a lot of tasks, repetitive tasks being handled, by the layer one analyst or tier one analyst. This doesn't look like an optimum security operations center or the workflow. Okay, so you will have to again invest in uh, increasing the team size, adding more skills, and definitely you need to basically invest more when it comes to the this type of security operations workflow. So yeah, and when when you want to increase the team size, when you want to add more skills, you need to know that the skills that you're looking for in a security operations center is not easy to find. First of all, at the at the tier one and tier two level itself, you need a lot of skills, experience related regarding these topics that you can see on the screen. So uh, knowledge about the security concepts, attacks, threats, I would say preventative and offensive security and networking protocols, networking concepts. Then there is application protocols, definitely, because when you are into security, you need to definitely understand what are the threats and what kind of protocols, application protocols they can cause threat to. Then databases and different query languages, different operating systems. And now here at a SOC or at a SIEM level, you are looking into the different types of data. So you need to understand what kind of data is relevant to what kind of uh, attack. Okay, so this is just a basic understanding of machine data or log analysis. So you need to, as an analyst, you need to understand what security log looks like, what application log looks like, what OS log looks like, and where to find information in it. So sometimes even the data or the logs are not in proper format. You need to parse them and bring them into human readable format, and you need to basically normalize it so that all the different applications, different devices, different solutions are sending the logs, just like yeah you know your SIM should act as a translator. For example, if if someone is speaking Chinese, someone is speaking English, someone is speaking Arabic, okay, the translator should translate it into one common language like English for the audience to listen to it. So the SIM should be capable enough to, or even with the ability of the analyst, it should be able to convert all the different logs into one log format, which is easy and readable to the analysts. Yeah. So command line for familiarity. Yeah, definitely you need to know what is different command line tools like PowerShell, PuTTY, etc. Security monitoring tools, coding, scripting, different regulatory compliance, like even so I would say in Saudi Arabia, you need to make sure that you know SAMA regulatory compliance, and in US it becomes HIPAA mainly, PCI DSS, so different regulatory compliances. Yeah, and nowadays if you know at least two types of languages should be known to any analyst, two types of coding languages. Okay, so that's like the basic, which is which if you have been working in the market, and if you have been in the field and working since last couple of years, people tend to know expect the analysts and the experts to know at least two to three different types of coding languages. So, and on the top of these different types of just skills, you need to have expert level knowledge on when it comes to security. So this is just the basic understanding of the different applications, protocols, operating systems, and I would say this is related to IT, when it coding as well. When it comes to security, you need to have an upper hand on regulatory compliance related to security, vulnerabilities, detection and response, investigations. Okay, um, and and also no, these are just technical skills, but you also need soft skills like writing down forensic reports, making sure you're good with recording the incidents and the activities that have been handled by each analyst. Okay, and then yeah, this comes into soft skills. So it's not just you need to have technical skills to handle an operations security operations center. You need to also have some soft skills. And mainly with the workflow you and you're trying, and your efforts in trying to make the SOC optimum, you need to also add more content. When I say content, it's like you have your SIM has ability to detect the basic attacks, for example, and known attacks. Okay, so when there is an advanced attack, an unknown attack, and your SIM is not ready to, it's not configured, okay, or this is, so if it's an application, so you call it programmed, but when it sends SIM, you call it configured. Okay, so it's not configured to detect the advanced attacks. So how can you do it? By adding more information about the context. The context means how an attack happens, which areas to look into, or which data types, data sources to look into to detect that attack. And adding more context, adding more content, adding more rules to detect the different types of advanced attacks which are not known. Okay, so it becomes a task of a security operations head, okay, like the tier 1 analyst, to not just manage the tier 1 tier 2 analyst, have the skill set, have the experience, but also have soft skills in managing them, and in generating reports, generating forensic reports, writing down new rules, suggesting adding the different types of data sources needed to detect advanced attacks. So it involves I would say curiosity and creativity in content development. But security people are hard to find. Yeah, as per the cybersecurity ventures cybersecurity jobs report in 2017, it is said that around 3.5 million security professionals would be sought by 2021. So security people are hard to find, and with the current growing requirements for security operations, even these skills are are shortage, I would say. So why we have been discussing the challenges, the of security operations center, the different tasks and the workflow involved in the security operations, and the skills needed, because first of all, building a security operations center is not an easy task. Okay, managing and making it productive is even harder. Okay, so you need a solution that can help you, solve all these challenges, and not just solve it, but also improve the operations and and provide you return on investment, better return on investment for your investment in the or SOC or security operations. So nowadays, if you see the shift, the focus is shifting from legacy SOCs to to advanced SOCs, I would say. Okay, so first difference that you would find in a SOC is that they just don't want to be aware of the current situation. They want to be more predictive. They want to be more analytical, and they want to be more fast, or more the time that is taken in making decisions needs to be fast. Okay, and the decision should be accurate. Or, for example, the time taken for detecting, investigating, and remediating an alert or incident should be quick. It should be within minutes, sometimes even in seconds, and the remediation should be effective. It should not be like it should be like a bullseye, rather than just hit firing 10 bullets and not hitting even one. Then there is operations or monitoring center. Yeah, so this is I would say more of old approach. Okay, operations or monitoring center, where you use monitoring tools or monitoring software itself for for looking into the status of the applications and the devices and the different data sources and data types. But now it's more of a nerve center or command center, which means it is more active or more proactive than than the older secure SIM solutions. So from your nerve center, you can not only collect data from different data sources from different domains of security, and different domains of I would say your organization. Okay, but also coordinate between the uh, different security tools and devices, where you collect the data and you take action, and so it's like incoming and outgoing. So the nerve center becomes a center hub for all the collection of data, analysis, and action. Okay, so then this action. Now, when it comes to action, yeah, so our data ingestion and analyzing, uh, previously it used to be only human driven, okay, or human dependent, I would say. Now it has become more human driven. Okay, so a platform for data analytics, for security analytics, and for content development, for for investigations, for reporting, along with human mind. Okay, so human has to drive it, not the solution does not have to depend on the human beings or the people, okay, to do the tasks, to do the investigation or remediation tasks, for example. The human should drive the solution, to do the analyzing, to take the actions. And that too at machine cycle speeds. So now the focus of current SOCs or SOCs is moving from being more reactive or being more human dependent to being more human driven. Okay, along with the machine learning and the actions, machine driven actions, machine driven investigations, machine driven analytics, and using all the types of data that sorry and using all the types of data that is relevant to any kind of incident in the organization, not just security relevant data. So it's like the current SOCs or security operations center or platforms, they are providing a platform for people, for operations, for processes, and devices. Okay. Yeah. So the same workflow of security operations. Okay. When it comes to legacy SIMs, okay, it becomes, and when it comes to advanced, it becomes so let me rephrase it. So when you see the existing workflow of security operations, previously it used to be only SIM, okay, so and that to human dependent SIM, but now it has evolved into security operations or security nerve center, which also involves SOAR, okay, security orchestration and automated response. So this is for only taking actions, and that too programmatic machine driven access, or sorry actions on the different devices. So here the so look into let's see into the bigger picture here. So a security nerve center involves SIM and SOAR. Okay, so SIM that to not just legacy SIMs but advanced SIMs, which collects all the different data types from different data sources, not just security relevant data. Because advanced analytics, security analytics, they it believes in looking into all the types of data relevant to or available in the organization, because they depend on machine data, and machine data means any data that is generated from any machine, and they believe that all the data types or all the data in the organization is relevant to security. So security is the only field where any data can be helpful in finding out insight about an incident. So the advanced SIMs, I would say, are or analytics driven SIM are depending on all the data types or from all the data sources in your organization. That is just the intelligence or the brains, okay, of your SIM, or of your security nerve center or security operations suite or security operations platform, whatever you want to call it. But the action, or the remediation, the coordination between the SIM and, or between the incidents and alerts and the tools or devices that can remediate or that can stop the attack is done by SOAR, security operations and automated response. So just imagine SOAR as being a platform for writing a rule book, okay, or a book with which has different steps to take of action to take when it comes to different types of incidents. And so for example, a phishing email incident comes, the SOAR SIM knows, it basically identifies it. So SIM identifies a phishing email incident, from where it came, who is the sender, or what is the subject of the email, or basically all the the investigation of the identifying of the incident, investigation of the incident, collecting all the intel about the incident, on who is the sender, what is the IP address, what is the email subject, is it a legitimate sender, is it a spam email, etc., etc. This is called triaging, and of the alert or the incident, and then the action. Okay, so that we have to, Security Nerve Center tells SOAR to do that. So SOAR is basically a platform that will coordinate uh, with sandboxing technologies, with email, I would say, like, what do you call it, email filters, yeah, or anti-spam filters, to identify the reputation of the sender, the IP address of the sender, reputation of the IP address of the sender, the email, if it is spam or not, and so on. And this is just the email filter or spam filters task. Now, after finding out the reputation of the filter, of the email, if there's an attachment, it can be sent to sandbox to identify the nature of the file. Okay, how malicious is it? So the SOAR will coordinate with or integrate with your sandbox, your email filter, your threat intel sources to identify the reputation of even of the IP address, and finally, taking action on the firewall, for example, or even on the email filter to block this sender or block this subject and block this IP address on the firewall, or on your email filter. Okay, so this is just one incident that I talked about. So there must be, like we discussed, 1 million security alerts come, on an average in a SOC. So just imagine how many different types of security devices you have to integrate with the SOAR, and how many different types of data sources that you need to ingest, okay, or data types you need to ingest in the SIEM. So that becomes huge. So your security nerve center is a central hub which integrates with your network devices, network data types and data sources, threat intel sources, even your endpoints and mobile devices, uh, identity and access management solutions, cloud security solutions, application security, and specifically web application firewalls, and web proxies and firewalls. And together they basically, they do the income, they handle the incoming and an outgoing, or taking the data in, analyzing it, supporting the different data types, and then taking action, and programmatic action at machine speed. Okay, so it's not just human, it doesn't offload the tasks to human beings, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, for the you know uh, for some of the mitigation or remediation related tasks, but it actually, it is driven by the human beings, or the people, through a process, and deliver the actions at machine speeds. So investigate, monitor, analyze, and act. That's what we do using the Security Nerve Center. Yeah. So security operations suite, is a combination of three uh, main modules. Okay, to modernize your security operations, it is security Splunk Enterprise Security, which is the SIEM, Gartner Leader SIEM, offering from Splunk. Splunk User Behavior Analytics. Basically, it's, if you see the market, it's called User and Entity Behavior Analytics. So the main, or the product, just like we call SIEM as one of the technologies, there is something called User and Entity Behavior Analytics, UEBA. So based on that technology, Splunk has developed Splunk User Behavior Analytics. Okay, and the third technology is SOAR, Security Orchestration and Automated Response. And to cater to that requirement, or to handle that technology, based on that technology, there is Splunk Phantom, which is the automation engine in terms of action of a SOC. So if you see Splunk's security operations suite for a SOC is SIEM, which is Splunk Enterprise Security, then UEBA, which is Splunk User Behavior Analytics, and SOAR, which is Splunk Phantom. Okay, so all of that, they combine together to form adaptive operations framework. Okay, so it's basically it means that it can support any data source. Okay, any type of data, or any type of data source, be it an application, be it a tool, be it a software, be it an app, be it a security device, be it any kind of network device, any data source, any data type, basically machine data can be ingested, no matter how many, what is the number of the security, or total number of devices that you are. So Splunk is sized based upon the the data size, rather not based upon the number of devices that are sending the data to. So any amount of data from any data source and data type, and then analyzing or identifying security incidents, not just known and unknown, but also user related, okay, or so user based attacks, okay, using Splunk UEBA, like fraud, insider threats, like the employees of an organization, are they posing threat to the organization or not? Are they doing any fraud activities? The existing employees of an organization, monitoring their activities, okay, related to authentication, for example. How, when is a user logging in, when is a user logging out, uh, you know what machine is he logging in usually, what activity he's doing, everything. So everything related to the user, to identify insider threats, not just external threats, and I would say fraud related activity. So here the data sources, they become more related to authentication, identity, and access management, or related to, or monitoring authentication related activities of any employee or of an organizational user. And Splunk Phantom, it basically takes just waits for the command to take action on. Okay? So once there is data ingestion, analysis, identification of incidents, and then the action has to be taken to remediate it, and that is done by Phantom with using something which is called as playbook. Okay, so playbook is nothing but a rule book which has understanding of different types of incidents and what actions should be taken or steps should be followed to remediate that incident. So this involves coordination or integration with different security tools, devices on which the action has to be taken. For example, firewall, um, sandboxing, email filters, web proxies, and so on. Yeah. So, to be honest, we have discussed this in short in the previous slide, but to go in deep, yeah. So, using Security Operations Center, Splunk Security Operations Suite, okay, uh, combating the advanced analytics or attacks with advanced analytics is powered by SIEM. Okay, so we already discussed that all the different types of data is relevant to security and for security analytics. So you collect the data from network devices like firewalls, routers, switches, and IPS, endpoint security, NGAV and EDR, threat intel, malware, uh, authentication sources. So here I would say it's sandboxing, and then wire data, asset and identities, and you perform security analytics. And what is the output? It is dashboards and reports related to to monitor the security activity, rules, or correlation rules, to identify, to basically coordinate, or I look into the different types of in logs or events from the different data sources that we saw here: network, intrusion, endpoint. So looking into the different logs or data from different data sources and correlating it, and basically finding out the relationship of how an incident happened, at what time it started, what on what all devices it was detected, like was it detected on firewall, was it detected on web proxy, was it detected on sandboxing solution, was it detected on the endpoint now. So when you detect the same incident on the endpoint, you understand that the attack has reached the endpoint or in your network now. So you basically can understand the impact of the attack. So to look into the different data sources, you need, or different logs, you need better correlation rules. And then filtering of the alerts, right? Previously it used to be the task of tier 1 analysts and tier 2 analysts. Now it can be done by by security analytics from Splunk or any advanced security operations suite or platform. Okay, validating the alerts, removing the false positives, and then prioritizing the existing the validated incidents to investigate. And finally, deciding the at machine speed, the action, the fastest action to resolve the incident. Yeah, that's what is done by Splunk Enterprise Security. So it overcomes the challenges that we saw of legacy, SOC or legacy SIEM, and moves towards and moves or evolves into an analytics-driven SIEM. So it has various dashboards and reports that will help you understand the security posture, okay, of current security posture of an organization, investigate and mitigate or take action at machine speeds, okay. And flexibility, when I say flexibility, it basically has a lot of support for collecting different data types and integrating with different data sources, and investigating different types of attacks, known and unknown. And scalability, to analyze not even just 1 GB, 10 GB, 100 GB of data, but also petabytes of data. I would say terabytes and petabytes of data, and if even more, because it's an entirely software solution. It's an entire software solution, not at all dependent on any. It doesn't have a hardware based module. So the only thing that you as a customer you need to provide is the hardware resources, like the virtual infrastructure, the storage, the computing resources on which Splunk Enterprise Security can be installed as a VM. Okay? So to move ahead, Splunk PS is the SIEM. Splunk UBA is the UEBA part, user and entity behavior analytics. So here the same data sources that we saw here are available already, okay, because Splunk UBA or Splunk Enterprise Security are two different apps, but they are installed on Splunk Enterprise, okay, which is the core platform for data analytics. So just imagine you have Splunk Enterprise, which is the core platform or core solution that has to be installed on a machine, okay, in your network. For example, you have Linux operating system, you have it's on a VM in your ESXi. You install Splunk Enterprise software on the Linux operating system, and then that's the software. Okay, that's the platform. When I say platform, I'm calling it platform because you can develop different applications on it, different use cases on it, and also install a lot of readily available apps from Splunk Marketplace. So two of these readily available and premium apps are Splunk Enterprise Security and Splunk UBA. Okay, so you can install them, these two apps on Splunk Enterprise. So just imagine Splunk Enterprise is collecting data from all the data sources, okay, be it 1 GB and be it 100 GB, be it in petabytes, and then on the different data types from all the data sources, it's like you have visibility across the entire organization because you are collecting data from all the data types and all data sources. Now you basically the SIEM, Splunk Enterprise Security, looks into all of the data, but with a lens of security analytics. Okay, so it will only try to find out insights related to security incidents from all the data types and all the data sources. Okay. Now, the same data, log data or machine data or data sources are available to Splunk user behavior analytics, right? But it will look into these data with a different lens. It will try to find out only user-related attacks. That too, from not just from the outside, like for example, social media engineering attacks, or or phishing attacks, or identity theft attacks from outside, which is happening outside of your network. Not just that, but also from the inside. So employee activity. Okay, so just imagine now the same data source, same solution, two different apps working on two different use cases. One is for security incident analysis, and one is user behavior analytics or analysis. So the data analyzed is same, okay, from network, from security, from all the relevant data that is available in the organization, but the data, the activity that will be analyzed is network related, application activity, login attempts, removable media, the activity through a removable media, from which user connected the removable media, what file was copied from the media, on which machine, what was done with them, with the file that was copied, etc., etc. Badge scans, yeah, so you can understand how detailed it is, so, or how focused it is. Badge scans gives you an idea of who is which employee is accessing which department or which room, for example, at what time, and after even accessing that room or department, what kind of activities he's doing at what time. And so it's like, just imagine it's like a footprint of all the activities being done by all the employees in an organization. So even printer activity, what kind of documents were printed? Is it, you know, is it a sensitive or critical document of critical information? And a baseline is formed, at different levels. So users activity, which is your employee, departmental activity. So grouping all the users from from different departments and forming a baseline of their activity. You similarly, growing more to regions activity. So it's like a whole branches, a company's branch, all the activity of the branch, and even the whole and a combination of all the branches. So a company's activity. So baseline is formed. So this needs AI analytics basically. This needs machine learning. This needs predictive analytics, which is baselining and understanding what is deviating from the normal behavior. What is anomalous behavior or ambiguous activities, so on. So this needs analytics, I would say. So and assigning a threat score, considering the baseline is to, for an employee to come in at 9 a.m., going into HR department and logging into his machine and doing all the HR related tasks and going out of at 6 p.m. That's the baseline. For example, for every employee in different department, someone tries to, go beyond that or, deviate that is considered as a threat, but not just randomly. It has been analyzed over weeks or months, and baseline is formed, a normal threat score is formed, and then some malicious activity which has been observed over again a couple of weeks and validated, and I would say strongly given a threat score higher than the normal threat score becomes a user based attack. Okay. Yeah. So it uses Splunk UBA. It detects unknown threats and anomalous user behavior using machine learning to enhance threat visibility, accelerate investigation, and increase productivity. Yeah. So definitely, you wouldn't want your employees to turn rogue, or if even if they turn rogue, you wouldn't want them to do any harm to your organization, to your business, to your security infrastructure or security posture. Yeah. So to automate your incident response now, yeah. So we have been looking into, the investigation of known and unknown attacks using SIEM, even insider attacks using, or fraud activities using UBA. Now, to take action, you need to automate, and not just depend on the people, okay, or human to drive it. Or sorry, to mitigate or take action. Rather, the human to drive the platform to take the action. So that is done by SOAR. So same data sources. Okay, again, critical events only, because SIEM has filtered the false positives and now only critical incidents are available. And again, critical incidents from related to user behavior, user-based activities or fraud activities, and then the actions are taken on only on, critical incidents. Use that too using programming language at machine speeds. So human is just configuring it and waiting for the magic to happen. So the orchestration is nothing but integration. Okay, when I say orchestration, it basically in simple language means it means communication or integration between the different peripheral devices, passive and active security devices like firewall, sandboxing, IPS, IDS, etc. And automation is nothing but just imagine a rule book. It's called playbook in Splunk Phantom language, but it's a rule book, which means what data source, what type of incident, what actions to take. Okay. Yeah. So a playbook or a rule book looks like this. So it can be, it's like it's like an algorithm or a workflow, or when you develop an application, you first write the, I don't know, a chart with a workflow of what should happen, what yes and no, algorithm, I believe. Yes. So to coordinate different steps, different devices to respond faster, work smarter, and strengthen your defenses. So this is also, so Splunk Mission Control is, to have a modern cloud-based and security operations experience. So Splunk Enterprise Security is also available on cloud, and Splunk Phantom can be integrated with on-prem or on-cloud Splunk Enterprise Security to take actions. So similarly, Splunk Adaptive Operations Framework, which we already discussed, it is Splunk Operations Suite with the security nerve center at the center hub, coordinating with the different types of security devices, and so major all the major vendors or all the major security technologies in the market have out of box integration with Splunk, even with Splunk Enterprise Security, Splunk Enterprise UBA and Front, so that they can collect data through these devices or applications or solutions and investigate, analyze the data, identify incidents, investigate them, and then take actions again. Uh, you know, when I say out of the box, it means the integration is readily available. You just have to click and configure it. You don't have to develop something. Okay. Yeah. And even if there is a new integration that has to be that needs to be developed, it can be it will be done by this Splunk research team. So they keep on working on content development, application development, and generating a lot of or developing a lot of contents for Splunk Enterprise Security, UBA, and Phantom. So you can check out the community website and the marketplace and even the knowledge base websites to identify the different updates and download them. So that these content updates involve new searches, okay, prepackaged searches for Splunk Enterprise Security. It's basically correlation rules to look into different data types, algorithms, dashboards, playbooks. So algorithms, it would be machine learning algorithms for Splunk UBA, and dashboards for all these applications, and playbooks specifically for Phantom, and much more. So now, if you see, the future is security operations, uh, center, yeah, but security operations, more of security operations platform or nerve center, security nerve center. And the new roles that could come up in the future is security content developer and automation engineer. So when I say security content developer, it is like we discussed, not just looking into the daily tedious and repetitive incidents, but solving them using automation and looking into the advanced or critical incidents, and not just looking into them, mitigating them or taking action on them in a fast way, or even in seconds or minutes rather than days and hours, and develop new contents. Okay, when I say content, it basically means planning ingestion of new data sources, or or even if you have ingested all the different data types from different data sources, for writing new security investigation rules or correlation rules to identify different unknown attacks. Okay, so basically integrating new different threat intel. Okay, that could be your own database of threat intel or indicators of compromise, or globally available free and paid ones. So it will focus on content development, writing new security rules or correlation rules, um, integrating new data sources, integrating new threat intel sources, and just like hunting. There's a new concept called hunting, right? So wherein you try to find out what is happening in your organization, even though there is no security incident that has happened. You just consider, uh, a hypothetical scenario wherein you just consider that maybe I should check, is there any phishing email attack in my organization? So you just take one user machine, investigate the logs on his machine to identify, is there a phishing email. So you do that for the other user, other machines, similarly for all the employees and all the machines all the endpoints in the network. This is hunting. This is what is hunting actually. It may sound funny, or why are you doing that? It is not even needed. There's no incident, but that's how that's the approach to be more proactive. Okay, and that's what people are doing nowadays, not just waiting for instant response, or you're not just waiting for incident to happen and do the instant response, but to be more proactive and start with hunting even though you don't have any incidents. So that way you will identify the gaps in your security infrastructure and the different security layers, and you will take steps to fill them. So similarly, that is so security. The threat hunting is a proactive approach when it comes to security incident investigation and response. Similarly, security content developer is more is a more proactive way, or it's like next level when you have made your security operations center optimum or productive, or or faster, and you're not you doing the repetitive and bulky and old tasks, same tasks, uh, daily, rather and wasting your time, rather than you have passed that stage and you have moved on to becoming a security content developer. Okay. Similarly, automation engineer, yeah. So security content developer is more related to Splunk Enterprise Security and or SIEM and Splunk UEBA or UEBA. And when it comes to action, yeah, there is there are chances of coming up uh, a new role as automation engineer, where expertise or skills are needed only for automation solutions like a SOAR solution, Phantom. There are other solutions in the market wherein you just need to you need to be aware of what actions are needed for different types of security incidents or security threats, and how to do the integrations, how to write faster and effective playbooks, and not just uh, uh, in terms of action, not just writing playbooks and executing them, but also monitoring how is the actions, how effective are the actions, or how is the Phantom performing or SOAR performing in terms of, with the help of management. There are various reports that can show you how many incidents were handled in how many steps, and how many incidents were handled, how much time, so it gives you with an understanding of what was the investment on the SOAR solution and what returns are you getting. So, so that is specifically, automation engineers' tasks, making sure the actions are taken in the best possible way, and making sure the automation solution is being more productive. Yeah. So what do we expect in 2020? Okay. This is I would say, yeah. Now we are talking about the future, so it would be 2021. And including 2020, it's like 90% of tier 1 analyst work will be automated. So you will be looking into the tasks of automations, and I would say probably soon the automation engineer role would come up, and time spent optimizing detection response logic, so more and more content development, right? So 50% of your time would be time spent optimizing the detection and response. So beyond security operations, yeah, like I said, the core platform is Splunk Enterprise, and Splunk Enterprise, if you are aware, it is called the platform for machine data. Okay? And when I say platform, it is not a software, it is not an engine, it is not a tool. It is a platform. Just like iOS and Android, you build different applications on it. You customize it as per your requirements. You can use it for different use cases, not just security. Splunk Enterprise can be used for security analytics, for business analytics, for IT operations, for IoT analytics, etc., etc. You have a problem related to machine in your organization, it can be identified using the data, relevant data from your organization, and taking action. Okay, so or basically investigating it using Splunk Enterprise. So now the action parts come with the SOAR. Yeah, so just imagine beyond security operations is analytics. Okay, and not just security analytics, machine data analytics. So that can be done by security Splunk Enterprise. Like I discussed, Splunk Enterprise has to be installed first, and then Splunk Enterprise Security, Splunk User Behavior Analytics, and Splunk Phantom. So this entire suite is called Splunk Security Operations Suite. But removing the top layer of automation, UBA and ES, you still get a data analytics platform when you go for these three solutions that can look into your machine data analytics. So that gives you the visibility into 360-degree visibility into your organizational data. And for example, if you have an organization that has a requirement for compliance, okay, they want to understand what are the different types of data sources in your organization, and what kind of incidents are happening. So you can use Splunk Enterprise to just ingest all the data, for log and aggregate the logs. Okay, so I mean, collect the logs at a single place, and then store it for as per the compliance requirements. Store it many banks and many, I would say, for example, in SAMA itself here has a regulation of storing the data for past whole year. So the banks have to keep 1 year's data, in their storage, even though it's just an archive. So that can be done by Splunk. So not just archiving, but also it can be searched using the Splunk Enterprise platform. So various compliances like PCI DSS, HIPAA, GDPR, etc. can be complied using Splunk Enterprise. Okay. Yeah. So moving on to some recognitions, Splunk Enterprise and Enterprise Security uh, you know, has been the Gartner leader since last 6 years, and even Splunk Enterprise Security, or Splunk Enterprise, has been designated as a 2018 Customer's Choice, okay, by Gartner peer. So the key takeaways is that we have, using Splunk Security Operations Suite, you can overcome the challenges that we saw in the first slide, and reduce the mean time to resolution, or accelerate detection response, optimize the security operations by filtering the false positives, making sure uh, you are automating the responses, right, and not depending on human beings for investigating and taking the action. Rather, humans drive the platform, and yeah, because of the the SIEM taking the action of filtering out the false positives, and SOAR taking action on the incidents, the filtered incidents in a faster way. You reduce the this, I would say, it basically becomes more machine driven at machine speeds and intelligent solution. But you definitely don't need to scale your team. You can use the existing team effectively. So that was it. Thank you. So if you have any questions, do let me know. So guys, if you have any questions, please do let me know. Thank you.